Have you ever been told that you should just know when you're in the mood? That if you're not instantly turned on before anything even starts, something must be wrong with you? Well, here's a fact that might completely change the way you think about desire. In a 2020 study, over 85% of women said they don't feel aroused until they're already engaged in some form of physical touch or emotional connection. In other words, most women don't get turned on before sex starts. Their arousal builds during the experience. And yet, for decades, we've been taught a very different story. We've been told that arousal is supposed to be spontaneous, that it should hit you like a lightning bolt out of nowhere, that if you're not in the mood right away, there must be something wrong with your libido. But here's the truth. That's not how it works for the majority of women. This instant desire model comes from an outdated, male-centric view of sexuality, one that assumes what works for men must work for women too. It focuses on spontaneous desire, where attraction appears suddenly without context or buildup. And while spontaneous desire is real and valid for some people, it's not the only or even the most common pathway to arousal for women. For most women, desire is responsive. It wakes up when the right cues are present, when there's physical closeness, emotional safety, or a sensory spark that lights something inside. Think about it. Maybe it's the warmth of a lingering touch, the way your partner looks at you with real attention, or even the sound of a voice that makes you feel truly seen. So if you've been waiting for that instant "I'm in the mood" moment to magically happen before intimacy, you might be waiting a long time. And if you don't feel turned on right away, it doesn't mean you're broken or that your desire is gone. It might just mean your body and mind work in a different but equally valid way. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. How female arousal really works and why understanding it could change your relationship with sex, with your partner, and with yourself. Most of us grew up thinking that desire should just appear, like flipping a switch. But for the majority of women, that's not how it works at all. In fact, for about 85% of women, arousal doesn't even begin until there's already some form of physical touch, emotional closeness, or a sensory cue that sparks it. This is called responsive desire, and it's just as real, valid, and healthy as spontaneous desire. The problem is, so many women don't know this. They think, if I'm not in the mood right away, something must be wrong with me. That misunderstanding creates pressure, shame, and sometimes even rejection in relationships. But here's the truth. Not feeling in the mood right off the bat doesn't mean you have low libido. It might just mean your body follows a different and completely normal rhythm. And when arousal does begin, your body starts going through a beautiful, intricate physiological process. Blood flow increases to your genitals, especially the clitoris, labia, and vaginal walls, bringing more sensitivity and pleasure. The clitoris swells, just like a penis does, because they're made of the same erectile tissue. Your vaginal walls naturally lubricate, the pelvic floor muscles relax, and the vagina widens and lengthens. The cervix shifts back to make penetration more comfortable. Your breathing deepens, your heart rate rises, nipples may become erect, and your skin can turn more sensitive or flushed. But here's something important. For many women, this full physical arousal can take 20 to 40 minutes of consistent stimulation and engagement. That's not too long, that's just biology. And those minutes, they're not a waiting period to get over with, they're an opportunity to explore, connect, and play. Skip this stage and the risks go up. Pain, tearing, pelvic floor tension, numbness, and even a long-term drop in sexual desire. But when you honor this process, you're not just protecting your body, you're setting the stage for deeper pleasure, stronger intimacy, and a far more satisfying sexual experience. For decades, when we talked about sexual arousal, we leaned on one very famous framework, the Masters and Johnson model. You might have heard of it. It breaks arousal into 4 neat linear stages: excitement, plateau, orgasm, resolution. Sounds simple, right? The problem is, it was built largely on studies of male sexual response. It assumes that desire comes first, that you're already in the mood before anything even begins, and then your body simply moves step by step toward orgasm. But here's the reality. That's not how it works for many women. And believing it should work that way can leave people feeling broken, frustrated, or disconnected from their own sexuality. That's why Dr. Rosemary Basson introduced a different perspective, the circular model of female sexual response. This model changes everything because it recognizes that desire doesn't always come first. You might start with a neutral mindset. Maybe you're not actively in the mood, but you're open to intimacy. Then as emotional connection grows, trust deepens, and the context feels pleasurable, arousal begins to build. From there, pleasure feeds desire. Desire feeds more pleasure, and the experience becomes less about racing toward an orgasm and more about being present in the moment. It's a loop, not a straight line, one that values emotional safety, playful exploration, and mutual attunement as much as physical stimulation. Think about it. Have you ever been with someone you deeply trust and found yourself getting more and more turned on as the interaction unfolded? Even if you didn't feel that way at the start? That's Basson's model in action. This shift in thinking is powerful because it takes away the pressure to be instantly ready and replaces it with permission to arrive at desire in your own time. It reframes sex from a goal-oriented checklist into a shared experience of curiosity, intimacy, and connection. And once you understand that your sexual response might be a circle rather than a straight line, you stop blaming yourself for not matching a model that was never designed for you in the first place. When it comes to arousal, especially in long-term relationships, it's not just about what happens physically. It's about how you feel, how you connect, and even what's going on in your mind. Let's break it down into 3 powerful factors that can make all the difference. First, emotional connection. If you don't feel emotionally seen, safe, and valued, it's hard to truly open yourself to desire. For many women, arousal starts with trust, knowing your partner respects you, understands you, and genuinely cares about your pleasure. In long-term relationships, emotional intimacy is the foundation for sexual intimacy. When there's no pressure to just get it over with, and you feel your partner is invested in the experience, not just the outcome, your body naturally relaxes. And that sense of safety, it's often the spark that leads to deeper pleasure and more adventurous exploration. Second, physical attunement. Too often, touch becomes rushed, goal-oriented, as if penetration is the finish line. But real arousal thrives with slow, intentional touch that asks nothing in return. Foreplay isn't just a warm-up, it's often the main event. For many women, the most intense pleasure comes from direct stimulation of the clitoris and the first 2 inches of the vaginal canal. When these areas are explored with patience and presence, the experience shifts from mechanical to deeply satisfying. Third, psychological engagement. Arousal doesn't live only in the body, it thrives in the mind. Fantasy, curiosity, and novelty aren't extras, they're essentials. Your brain is your largest sex organ, which means your thoughts, your imagination, and your environment all matter. Things like sexting, reading erotica, whispering dirty talk, or even the right playlist can feed arousal over time. On the flip side, distractions, intrusive thoughts, or the wrong sensory cues can shut it down fast. When these 3 elements, emotional connection, physical attunement, and psychological engagement, work together, they don't just increase arousal, they create a richer, more connected, and more deeply fulfilling sexual experience. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's this. Female arousal isn't an on-off switch, it's a dimmer. It doesn't instantly snap to high the moment intimacy begins. For most women, desire is responsive. It builds gradually, fueled by emotion, trust, context, and connection. This is why waiting for a lightning bolt of spontaneous desire can leave you feeling frustrated or even questioning your libido. It's not that something is wrong with you, it's that your body and mind simply work differently. And that difference, it's not a flaw, it's a strength. Responsive desire allows intimacy to be deeper, more intentional, and often far more satisfying. So instead of asking yourself, why am I not instantly in the mood? Try asking, what helps me feel safe? What makes me feel seen? What kind of touch, words, or environment invites me to relax into pleasure? When you shift your focus from instant arousal to gradual buildup, you're giving yourself permission to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Think of arousal as an unfolding story, not a race. Curiosity becomes the plot, emotional safety becomes the setting, and each moment of physical or psychological connection becomes a page you turn together. When you and your partner create this kind of space, free from pressure, full of presence, you set the stage for desire to grow naturally in its own time. And here's the beautiful part. When you release the pressure to be spontaneous or sexy on demand, you open the door to a more sustainable sexual connection, one that doesn't fade with routine or age, because it's rooted in something deeper than impulse. It's rooted in trust, attention, and shared experience. So remember, your arousal is valid exactly as it is. Nurture it with patience, curiosity, and care, and watch how much more connected, pleasurable, and meaningful your intimate life can become.